Sadomasochism.
Sadomasochism. Suppose we're hearing for the first time. But baseline is somebody that derives sexual arousal from giving or receiving pain.
Yes.
All right. So sometimes the person might be the one giving the pain. Sometimes the person is receiving the pain. That's their own part of it.
And sometimes they get sexually aroused by watching pain being inflicted on another person.
Wow.
So it's three ways.
I have somebody in my school that was like that. When they are flogging you or punishing you, they're happy. I was going to be aroused with that.
So that's not it.
It doesn't apply. Okay. Community people in Nigeria, when people are fighting, they don't come up videoing them. Those people are.
They are deranged. There's something wrong.
It's not sexual.
Okay. So for sadomasochism, the person has to be sexually aroused by either receiving pain, inflicting pain, or watching
people giving
each other pain. Wow. Basically, so that's the three ways it can happen. And so, like we always say here, we bring the scriptural part of it, the scientific part of it, and the statistical part of it. Yeah. So scientifically, I'm the sex doctor, he's the sex pastor, so who blend it. So scientifically, it's been said that it's actually a mental disorder. Now, basically, what's a disorder? Disorder means something that is going out of the normal order, something that is out of the way it's supposed to be. And these things are triggered by either trauma, abuse, or basically being brought up or trained in an environment. So it can be environmentally engineered. So a child that grows up in a home where he sees the dad dominating his mom, the mom doesn't have a say in anything that happens in the home and stuff like that, the child sees it as normal. So by a child that grows up in a happy home, everything goes the way it's supposed to be, that's this person's own normal. So sometimes that's why when you're talking to people that experience these things, they're looking at you like, this is my normal.
Normal, yes. It's what they've known all day.
This is what they've known all their lives. So they don't see anything wrong in what they are doing. To themselves, you are the one that's abnormal.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand what sexual pleasure is, as in, I'm giving my spouse pleasure. My spouse is happy. No, you cannot be happy. Yeah. There has to be pain involved. There has to, some people get as far as until they see blood.
Blood, yes.
I know there was a case recently. I saw it on Instagram. The guy was being accused of. No, he confessed to have choked his girlfriend to death during sex. Yes. He was arrested for choking his girlfriend to death during sex. He's wondering why they're arresting him. Because obvious, it's their normal. It's what they have been doing. Yeah. So that she died was not part of the plan, but they were having sex just like every other person has sex. So that's their normal. So science has told us that it's actually a disorder. It's a mental disorder. So science agrees that there is a right way sex should be done. So if it's not done in this way, any other way outside of it is a disorder. And what's the way sex should be done? Husband and wife, the way God intended it. Because that's why we're here. We preach here sex the God way. God's plan for sex is husband and his own wife.
Exactly.
Papa, you know that we have to be careful.
It can be neighbor's wife.
Because when you say husband and wife, it can be his neighbor's wife. He can tell you that you just said wife. It can be any wife. No, his own wife, his covenant partner.
Yes.
So sex is between husband and his own wife, right? So when it's not happening in that way, there's a problem.
No, you said husband and wife. You didn't mention how now. Is husband and wife peacefully? Because
but they can defend that
sadomasochism, they're having husband and wife now.
But they can defend that it was peaceful.
And you slap somebody, say it's peaceful.
It's a peaceful slap.
And you bring whip.
Because sometimes, so now that's where the disorder comes in. It's not like the person is imposing. Because when we start talking about this thing, you hear people, when we did Instagram Live, some people in the comment section were saying, but there's a limit. But they call it, there's a word they call it, there's a limit, when you get your limits, you can use a sign.
Yeah, because it's common. And again, these things are because of what people have exposed their minds. So people don't realize that your mind is your biggest sex organ. That's what we always say here. It's your biggest sex organ. So you can literally train and condition your mind to find very weird things sensual. You can. So that is why purity is not just about, abstaining from certain things, it's about protecting your mind. That's what we said, Christians don't practice celibacy. We practice sexual purity. There's a big difference. So it's about cleaning up your mind. So if you expose your mind to watching people inflicting pain on each other sexually, your mind eventually will pick that up.
As pleasure.
And before you know it, you will not get aroused until you see somebody slap somebody,
Yes.
And again, I was going to say that in some cases, there's the normal, smack me, some things that look not too extreme. So again, I'm sure that's something you need to address. How do we now know which one is? Because a lot of ladies that say, I like my husband to smack my bum or things like that, So how do I know when he's going to use the wardrobe and smack your whole back and break your back? How do we know when it's past the stage?
Okay, so the issue here is that we really don't know where to draw the line. Now, we are created to yearn for more, to desire for more.
Yeah.
So it starts with the little things. I don't see anything wrong with a smack on the bum, a smack on the head. Let's play something. But you know when it's serious. You know when the person is actually serious with what he or she is doing to you. When it becomes...
Now, let me say, sometimes it's not the beater.
It's the receiver,
it's
yes.
It's the BT that say, more!
Harder.
You slap, I say, more!
Yes.
Go and bring the wardrobe. Or the
in this case,
in
this case, it's the receiver that has the problem. Yes. And now you, the giver, in quotes, when it starts getting to that point, you are the one that should say, this is not normal, right? And start finding out. Most times, it's what they have experienced earlier.
It's trauma.
It's trauma.
And they've just normalized it and continue to perpetuate it.
Papa, I spoke to somebody. When I put it on my status, and the person goes, I can't have sex if it's not like this.
Yes. So.
And I'm like, really?
Yes.
And she goes, yes, that's her normal.
Yes.
Right. So it took a long conversation for her to understand that she was actually the abnormal one.
Yes.
Because for her, she said, so I had to start asking her, what was your first sexual experience?
Yes.
She said, what you people call normal. That's what she said. What you people call normal. I said, so you were not raped, you were not abused. She said, no, it's what we call normal. That was her first experience. I said, but you see, that's why the Bible says, as in sex is between married people, husband and wife. Now, if you had experienced that first experience with your husband, right, that becomes you people's normal. But now, just like they say, until you eat Basira's rice, your mother's jollof is the best. Is the best jollof. Now she has tasted our normal. Now goes taste another one. And then when she now gets the experience of the, in quotes,
her brain has now been triggered.
Yeah, so
certain pathways have been created.
Yes, she sat down and she's comparing. I think I kind of like this other way. And now, instead of, finding out what the real normal should be, she now explores this other way, trying to get better and deeper into it. Now, such a person cannot even have a normal sexual experience with his or her spouse. The only way you can help that person now is to start trying to retrain the mind. Start rewiring the mind. The mind is just like a hard drive. When it comes, it's empty. We're the ones that put in what we program it and put things. And then when we see that the programming is wrong, we do a factory reset. That is sending it back to the original state by which it was created. Yes. And the only way we can do that is by the word of God. Yeah.
And another thing about the mind is that some people's minds are more susceptible to certain things. That's why two people can take drugs and one, it doesn't become a drug addict.
Yes.
And the other one becomes a drug addict. Two people can take alcohol, one doesn't become an alcoholic, the other one becomes a full alcoholic. But some people's minds, our brains, are more open to certain things. They are more likely to
yeah, but it also starts from
exposing
it.
Yes.
But by the time it depends on what. So these two people now, if two of them came clean, in quotes, but if one person has exposed his brain to something else, right, that's when the person has opened portals and pathways for other things to come in. Like I was about to say, the devil and his mother-in-law will now come in and relax in that mind and starts feeding, starts perverting everything good that is supposed to be coming into that mind. So this person actually, because sometimes you think the person is, in quotes, a bad person, or the person is, in quotes, a sinner, or the person, in quotes, is a drug lord or something. No, they are everyday people.
Some of them are even gentle, very gentle and timid and quiet, normal life.
They are everyday people.
But on the bed, they are a tiger.
Everyday people you see on the streets, they are even the most, in quotes, kind people. When you encounter these people, they are the most kind, well-behaved, decent, well-dressed. But when they close that door,
they are for war. They are not for peace.
When they close that door, you'll be wondering who is this person who was just outside right now. It's because the person is wondering, why are you adverse to this thing? It's what we normally do. It's what we normally do.
Like you said, the dangers involved is, number one, there have actually been a lot of death.
Yes.
As a result of these things. It's just like it's never really mentioned. Nobody wants to come and say, how did your cousin die? How did your son die? How did your uncle die? Say, he was having sex, they were choking her or choking him. And they say, more. And they choke and the eye go up and he died. That's the most embarrassing thing. So nobody wants to talk about that.
Even sometimes, like, death is actually the extreme case. Sometimes you damage body parts. Sometimes you damage body parts. There's some equipments in the name of BDSM. The truth of the matter is that when you say BDSM, the kind of things that you see, are some equipment in the name of BDSM that, because they want to inflict pain on this person, and because this person wants to please this person, right? See,
Yeah,
that expert, the submissive, dominant, and the submissive.
Yes.
The first things first, they groom this person. They groom you to think that you can't survive without them. They become your source, mental, physical, financial, and otherwise. They don't just pick somebody on the road. They have been grooming you over time. Then you become totally dependent on them. So therefore, when they now finally demand this from you, you feel like, if I don't do this, I'm a bad person.
Yeah.
You're not feeling like the bad person. So first, they've already damaged your thinking process. Now you are in total submission to them, right? Then when there are these equipments they use, I was actually trying to explain damaging of body parts, mostly in the woman, the vagina, because there are tools they use that scatters the place. Tools. That's when people talk about sex toys. Like I said, the human body is trained to want more. Now, nobody knows. You can't say this is where we should stop.
Because that once you start choking,
once you start
beating,
you will want the next. What's the next level?
Yes.
What's the next? Then you will hear, what's your limit? Tell me your limits.
There's no limit now.
There's no limit. There's no limit. You just want to enjoy more. In quotes, you are enjoying it, but you're inflicting pain. Yeah. We've had cases where they use nipple plugs and they pull out the woman's nipples. In quotes, we're having fun, we're having sex.